Welcome everybody. My name is Shane Matheny. I am outside sales rep, and I am going to turn my video on. I'm an outside sales rep here at GSG, and we wanted to have this next couple of weeks take some time to introduce one of our newest products, the STAX LED system. Many of you guys know that we have carried a modular type system in the past, and we want to introduce this new partnership with Next LED. A few things that I need to go through. First of all, we have Brett Wright, Luke Luttrell, and Brady Haig from Next LED that will be doing the presentation for us today. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to put this together. And I know that what we're looking at right now is a trade show type booth right in the middle of a production area. So we appreciate you guys taking the time to stop production for a few minutes and let us get this this presentation in. Luke, how bad did I butcher your name?
You're good.
Okay, good.
That was
good.
all right. You're good.
Oh yeah, I forgot I told you to mute it. So, so Luke, Brett, Brady, thank you guys again so much for being here. GSG and Next started our partnership roughly July, I think is when our first inventory came in. We're starting to see some huge successes, so we felt this was a good time to get as many people on board as we could, and just kind of go into detail about the new system. Little housekeeping things. Number one, if you guys will go ahead and put your system, attendees, if you'll put your system into speaker view, when whoever is doing the talking, you will see the largest screen available. So when we go into some of these detailed parts, when they zoom into something, you'll get the best vantage point from there. Also, if you have a question, there is a Q&A down at the bottom that you can type the question in, or if you want to do chat, you can put it in the chat window. I'll be monitoring both of those throughout the session. So if we have any questions, what we're going to do is we're going to let them run through the whole thing, and then just jot your questions down in the Q&A or chat, and then I'll ask those here in a little bit. Last, and probably, I don't know, guys, the most important thing here is GSG and Next will be giving away a couple of gift cards. So, but you got to be present to win. So at the end of this presentation, we're going to give out 2 $100 gift cards. But we would, but the way we choose that is who's in here when it's time to give the cards away. So that's really all I've got to say. I'm going to stop the video so you don't have to look at me, my ugly face anymore. But I'm going to hand it over to Brett. Brett, you guys do your thing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shane. So we are welcome to Wichita, Kansas, first of all. We are really excited to be here. This partnership with GSG has been a long time coming. We feel that Next LED and GSG are two companies that are really aligned in terms of our core values: customer service, doing what we say we're going to do, availability, really supporting sign companies and sign companies' customers. So especially with an EMC product like we're going to introduce to you today, and we've been making here in Wichita for over a decade, we understand that customer relationship, it's not just us and a sign company, it's us and a sign company and your sign customers as well, because they're buying a sign from you. We get that. So you need to count on our support, and they need to count on our support. And a lot of times when you work with a company like GSG and now hopefully Next LED, you're going to find that you're going to get people that are really behind the products we make and the people we service. So we're excited about this product. As Shane said, this modular system is not necessarily a revolutionary concept. We have been keeping our eye on it for years and years, and we think we have a spin and a product that is really going to take this type of concept to the next level in terms of performance and reliability and support. So without further ado, I'm going to show you what it takes to build a STAX sign, whether it's in your shop or potentially even in the field. But we have a product that's going to give you a lot of flexibility for every application. So like a lot of products, it starts with a box. Not the sexiest thing, but I do want to show you that when we think about a product like this, we understand what's going on in a sign shop. And so everything we do is to make life as easy as possible for your crew, yourself, and it starts with simple instructions on everything we do, QR codes, an 833 GSG STAX number that will always support you. Building a STAX really comes down to a few simple components. All starts with a 9.5 millimeter SMD module. That's 1 foot by 2 foot. Obviously data and power input output. But this product is an 8500 nits brightness. That is a key measurement we've been watching for years with SMD technology. Up until the last couple of years, these products were not bright enough over the long term, so that end users really had a great looking sign for a lot of years. We feel really comfortable now with this brightness that's going to last years and years, as opposed to what it has been in the past with SMD technology. We also have a frame system. I'm going to touch a little bit more on how to build this in a little bit more details, but we have a 1 by 2 foot frame, and then we have 2 foot by 4 foot frame. This would house 4 modules. This would house 2 modules, or 1 module, I'm sorry. You can connect any combination of those. You're also going to have cables that will connect the modules to each other, and a control box that we're going to dive into a little bit later. This is a plug and play system with cellular, light sensor, PC, and then everything's going to come with software and a companion program that we provide. We're going to dive into that a very little bit today, and then a lot more next week. So I'm going to pretty much show you how to build a STAX system. It is as easy as taking your frames. Right now, you're looking at the back of a unit. You're going to connect it with nuts and bolts. Pretty simple. Nuts and bolts connection, high and low. Now, it's important to note our frames are not module holders. We've seen that in other systems and rental products and things like that in the past. These are dimensional, extruded aluminum, super rigid. These frames themselves can form a structural component of any sign. But connecting a frame is as simple as connecting nuts and bolts to the size and shape of your sign. So this now with 4 1 by 2 foot modules, this is now a 2 foot by 4 foot sign, if you will. I'm going to jump to the back. One unique part of our system is we have an optional frame backing door. So this exists for whether the small frame or the large frame. If you want your sign to have a finished look, you can add a back to your sign. Great for single face displays, or maybe a wall mount that might extrude a little bit. Or if you want your end user to see a very finished product, we have this optional frame backing. The other thing you're going to see with our system is something we put a lot of thought into, and it's this steel connection plate. So this allows you, whether you're using 1.5" unistrut or square tube, this allows you to make a connection between your frame corners and build a subframe or substructure that might give your overall product a lot of flexibility in terms of turnkey install and build out in the shop. Once you have your frame built, connecting modules to your frame is as simple as using a hex key and 6 connection points. So as you install onto the frame, and of course it's going to stick on me. There we go. 6 connection points for each module. That allows you to simply, quickly, and easily connect your modules to the frame. We're going to show you how to hook them up with cabling. I will point out all of our frames have these alignment points at top. These are obviously removable, but they also act as lifting points for when you have a completed display. Once you have your LED sign built, Luke's going to talk a little bit about a common applications you're going to see in a sign company.
Hi guys. I've been in the sign industry for over 15 years, and my first 7 years in the industry was in a custom electric sign company. Through that process, I dealt everything with design, production, manufacturing, installation, and service. When I helped co-found and start Next LED 10 years ago, our main focus was about install and service and making products that were easier for your installers and your team to do your job the right way. So I'm going to show you a few things that I like about our STAX product when it comes to installation. Right here, I've got a 2x4 frame that Brett was just showing you earlier.
Hey, Brett.
I've also got a 1.5 inch aluminum frame that is a signed cabinet. And so what I want to show you right here is that with that same exact cabinet frame design.
Hey guys.
Hang on.
We can't hear Luke. We need to unmute his, because all we're doing is picking up his from Brett's microphone.
All right, how far do you want me to go back, Shane?
There you go. Why don't you just start over, because we couldn't hear any of it. So.
Okay. I've been in the custom electric sign industry, well, the sign industry as a whole for 15 years. And my first 7 years was in a custom electric sign shop. Through that experience, I learned everything from design, production, manufacturing, installation, and service. When we started Next LED 10 years ago, our main focus was two things. Make a product that's easy and to understand and install, and a product that's easy to understand and easy to service. Right now, I'm going to go over a few of the different installation methods that I think you'll find interesting and also easy to understand and easy to complete. So the first thing we have right here is a 2 foot by 4 foot frame. This 2 foot by 4 foot frame that Brett was showing you just a few minutes ago has got 4 bolt connections. We can attach that to a 1.5 inch aluminum frame by simply using a sheet metal tap screw that's going into the substructure. So if I do that in each of these 4 corners, this makes this an easy product to install into an existing sign cabinet or into your completed design. Let's say that we want to take a single face application and we want to install it to the wall. This right here, this plywood is just simulating a wall. You're going to be able to do the same thing with a lag screw. So this lag screw right here can go into a substructure, can hold our frame, and like Brett mentioned before, this frame stands alone. It's not a module holder. We'll put the module directly into this, connect it to this frame that's a part of the wall and the substructure, and you're good to go. Third one and last one would be on a pole installation. On the back here, you'll notice that we've got a 1.5 inch or 2 inch square tube that is also using that same corner hole where you can put a bolt through it and attach a sub angle, allowing you to put an angle on a steel pole or a steel structure and weld that on to get you to your desired output. So those 3 methods make the STAX product real easy for you as a sign fabricator, a sign installer, and sign service to be able to attach this to any product or any project that you're working on. So after you've got the sign assembled, the sign installed, let's talk about the control system. Every project, every display is going to have a weather-proof, full enclosed structure cabinet that's going to have all of our components in it, the PC, our control system, and the cellular router. There's no need for you or the customer to open up this box. You do have the ability to do so, but the idea is that once you receive it, it's ready to be powered up and turned on. Every box comes with a launch instructions that gives your installer or your production manager or whoever's in the shop that's working on these displays the ability to contact our team and remotely get everything configured correctly for your customer and get their content running. Every display or every control box comes with 4 mounting brackets. Those mounting brackets can be installed and located at different spots around the control box, which allows you for flexibility in your design and locating this box for installation. This can be mounted inside an existing sign cabinet, or it could be mounted outside on its own on an existing pole or some other part of your substructure. When it comes time to power it up, you're going to notice on the bottom, we've got two sets of inputs. We've got a master and slave power input, and we've got a master and slave data power cable. So assuming we've got a single face sign, with the purchase of a control box, you're going to get one controller cable kit. This controller cable kit is going to have the primary power cable that you need to connect to the primary power source for the display. And it's also going to have the first primary data cable to run to your display. For the power connection that's going into the control box, for the master display, we have a 20 amp circuit. This 20 amp circuit is going to run through this one cable that we're going to simply connect and twist with a waterproof connection. Once this connects to this box, it's providing power to everything that's inside this box, and it's also ready to provide power to your entire display. The other end of the cable that comes to you is going to be a typical 3-wire cable. It's got a black, a white, and a ground, hot, neutral, and a ground fitting that allows you to use a typical electrical connection and get it into a typical setup. After we've got power, we're now going to take a different fitting that can only be plugged into the control box. We're going to plug that into the master display. Again, waterproof connection. This is going to carry power and data. We're giving you a 30-foot cable, both on the power and on the power and data cable, to get from your control box to your first display. When we get to the first display, you'll notice that the frame does have slots both on the top and the bottom. So depending on how you've designed your product and your sign, you can come in either way. You're going to connect into the first module, and then every module is going to jump and snake with the in and the out. What I like about this design is that your installer cannot incorrectly put one of these cables into the wrong spot, both because it won't fit, and two, we've got them color coded. So out's always blue and in is always yellow. Last thing I'm going to point out on the control box is that we have a light sensor and a cellular antenna. Both of these come with a 15-foot long cable as well, so that you can remotely mount those to your installation that best fits your needs with what you're doing.
I think we lost you guys.
Hey guys, we have no audio or video of you guys right now.
I need your Okay, we're back. Can y'all hear me now? Can you hear me now, guys? Okay.
I think we need to
Shane,
swap over to Luke.
Shane, you good?
Can't hear you, brother.
Can you not hear me? Unmute Luke.
So we got it while you guys are doing that. We do have a few questions that are coming up. and I can go ahead and take some of those questions while they're working that out. Number one, someone has asked, how many units are stored at GSG and how readily available are they on demand? We do have a full stock at GSG. So if you place your order today, then on your next available run, whether you're an extended run at GSG, same day run with GSG, or next day, whatever your next scheduled day for you guys to take delivery. For example, some of my Dallas customers, if they place the order by 10:30 this morning, they will absolutely get their order this afternoon. You can't beat that from a EMC standpoint. We also had a question about 1x2s. The modules do come in 1x2s, but you cannot make that a 2 foot by 1 foot. The one drawback of this STAX is that your width will always be an even footage. So there's no 3x7s. There would be a 3x8, 3x6. One thing that I would like to kind of discuss real quick while they're getting getting everything kind of organized, getting back organized. One of the things that we need to take into consideration when selling these units is the fact that these are edge to edge systems. There's no retainers around it. So if you ask for a 3x6, you're getting a full 3 foot by 6 foot display. Your pixel matrix is going to be on a 9mm, so you will have a lot. You will have a lot more pixels on that 3x8 than what your competition will. I have another question. Will the customer have to pay a monthly fee for the cellular connection? No, they will not. That is a 5-year. That's a 5-year plan. So from that point, your first 5 years are absolutely free. Brett, I think I heard you. Are you back?
Yeah, I think I'm back.
Yeah.
All right.
You look a lot better now.
Well, I needed a little break there. Sorry. So when the boss says he wants to be in the video, you got to try to figure out how to get 2 audios and 2 videos going, and we totally botched it. Sorry to all you guys out there, but I hope you understand. So where Luke left off was talking about the control box. I'm going to jump back really quickly. I think we were going to pass the screen to Brady Haig, who was going to show our software, but I think we're going to nix that, Brady. So we're going to, next week, I hope you guys all tune in, but I will describe. Right now, we use a completely cloud-based software that your end user gets for life. No software update charges. They will have an accessible software to run their sign for life. They can run it from any PC, Mac, iPad, run it from their phone if necessary. And as Shane just mentioned, it includes 5 years of Verizon data. Now Verizon is our primary carrier offering. We have had situations where somebody needs an AT&T because of a unique place where Verizon does not have great service. We can make those arrangements if necessary, but our core offering is a Verizon Cellular, and we love it. And installers, your installers love it, not having to mess with radios. And the only thing worse than radios is IT guys. And so not having to mess with IT guys is a huge thing that sign installers absolutely love. And so I think that answered those questions. Next week, if you tune in, we're gonna dive into the software and a companion program called Project Content that we offer as well. The thing that I want to touch on at most in this situation is what is in it for you as a sign company selling STAX. So who should be selling STAX? Next LED manufactures 2 types of products. We have STAX, and then we have a traditional custom build EMC. We think there's absolute value in both of them. So STAX is a terrific product for quick projects. We know that cash flow is tough on small businesses and on sign companies a lot of times. This allows you to potentially sell, build, and install a sign in conceivably under a week, whereas a traditional product's going to take 4 to 6 weeks for you to get there. It takes a lot of equipment to install. This allows you, as Luke showed earlier in our brief little demo, a lot of flexibility to be creative with how you're going to do an install. It's terrific for retrofits. And as Shane sort of touched on, as the pixel pitch becomes tighter in outdoor signs, we used to actually recommend that a church not spend tens of thousands of dollars on a small scrolling message center in the 2010s. Now you can get 64 pixels in a 2-foot sign. So this is terrific for the lower budget projects. The other place it's great is you may have a long-standing tradition of selling one of the big brands in the LED world. There's some great products in this country, but maybe you want a secondary brand to offer your customers, or you want an opportunity to say, this project needs such and such brand. This project is perfect for a STAX. So I think it's a terrific companion product, even if you're already married, for lack of a better term, to another brand. And the last thing I would say is we've had a lot of success at Next LED in the last decade working with companies that maybe were scared of selling EMCs. A lot of sign shops that don't do a ton of big ticket custom electric projects, but still are considered the sign guy for such and such church or such and such bank. Don't be afraid of talking to your GSG rep or giving us a call. We are happy to help walk you through how to sell this, how to demo it, how to describe to your customer the benefits. Our team takes care of the end user like you wouldn't believe. And so when I said at the beginning that when you sell an EMC, you're not closing a deal a lot of times. You're kind of opening a relationship with your customer, because it is an electronic product that runs outdoors for 10 years, every minute of every day. And so that customer is going to have turnover in operating the sign. They bought the sign to help sell more widgets. And our team is really focused on the benefits of owning an LED, which is what we're going to talk about a lot more next week. But that when you sell a STAX unit to your customer, they're going to be in good hands in terms of making it work to the best of its ability. So with that, I think we're good on chapter 1 in terms of demonstrating the product. I don't know if we have any other questions. Shane, you can jump in and we'll try to answer without killing the connection this time.
Yeah, we actually have several questions out here. Man, a lot of great questions for today's show. Number one, I noticed that when you were putting the unit together, there's 2 gray pins. Apparently those are guide pins to make it a lot easier to line everything up. Will you talk about, can we use those pins for lifting loads?
Absolutely. So these pins are designed obviously as guide pins, but secondarily they're designed as lifting loads. And I mentioned earlier that anytime you buy a STAX, you're going to get a custom schematic, whether it's a 2x4 or a 6x8. You are going to receive or find on the website the actual schematic for the assembly of that size product, which includes lifting recommendations, and these pins serve that purpose.
To give you just
go ahead.
a quick take on what we're talking about when we're talking about lifting is each one of these pins has the ability to carry 330 pounds. And so for most custom electric displays that you're going to be putting together, 2 pins are all you need. After you're done installing it, these are removable.
Perfect. Yeah, man, we got a lot of great questions. I know we're close to 9:30, but we got a bunch of questions, so we're gonna keep asking these questions, and we'll keep answering questions as long as you guys keep throwing them at us. Let's scroll down a little bit. The connections are stated to be watertight, but the cabinets are wide open to the elements, and even the control box has mounting holes all over it. Can you explain a little bit more how this is watertight?
So on the control box, we've got mounting holes in there, but they're not exposed or open to the inside of the cabinet. So it's a welded nut onto the cabinet that doesn't have any water penetration possible. So there are multiple holes but they're only there for the screws. And then on the cabinets or the modules themselves, again, waterproof connections. Our mold, plastic back is all waterproof. And then the control box that actually sits on the back, not only is it waterproof, but we also have a rain dripple edge. This design that we've come up with, that we've worked on, is on the heels of our standard product line that we've had in installation for nearly 5 years. Our Onyx product line is made off the same concept of everything's fully waterproof, and that our cabinets are exposed and elements are available to enter our other sign cabinets as well. We made the decision 5 years ago to make sure all of our components were waterproof rather than worrying about a cabinet being waterproof.
Great. Next question. Are there sample display kiosks available for purchase?
Yes. So we basically have a standardized demo program. We believe that nothing sells LED signs like a demo, and nothing sells LED signs like a sign dealer willing to invest in marketing the same way they're asking their customers. So we've teamed up with GSG. Any STAX demo and we know that every application might be different, or every sign company might need a different size, but any installed STAX display at a sign company is eligible for a 40% discount on the module price.
Perfect. Thank you. I think I touched on the second one. Will the customer, or the next one, will the customer have to pay a monthly fee for the cellular connection? For the first 5 years, that, as Brett mentioned, the first 5 years, that is free. So that's no additional cost to your customer. Are there any limitations on how many 1x2 modules can go together?
We do have a maximum number of modules that will go together. But I'll say this, if you guys get to that point on your sales, you've got a really large billboard or scoreboard or some major projects on hand, and good for you, you need to bring us in and make sure that we're going to be able to support you and make sure your installation's great. But we're talking like 50, 60, 70 modules. So if you get to that spot, my recommendation is to get in touch with one of the GSG sales reps and one of the Next LED sales reps. That way we can get our technical team involved and give you, the dealer, and your customer the best chance at success to make sure it's done correctly. But for 99% of the projects that you're going to sell, there's no maximum on the number of modules you use per phase. Just
after every 12 modules, you got to hit that continuation cable, correct?
Yes, and if we'd like to look at that, we could.
Yeah. Okay. I can answer this next one. Will you be able to do a demo for possible customers? I know Brett is so ready to get out of his office in his warehouse and get on the road again after 6 months of kind of dealing with COVID. So yes, he calls me about once a day saying, let's go see somebody. Who can we go see? So yes, we will be able to do demo for possible customers. Just give us a little bit of time to get it scheduled. If you're in New Orleans, we probably won't be able to get there the next day, but hey, you never know with Brett. So absolutely, yeah. We'll do a demo for your customers.
And every GSG branch has a demo unit. You know, it's not always the greatest to put forth to customers, but they can at least see the resolution. And in a 2x4, it's amazing how clean these signs are compared to a traditional EMCs that they've been driving around seeing. And I would ask, as long as I can get back for high school football on Fridays for hopefully the next 8 weeks, 10 weeks, I'll be out there whenever y'all need me.
Let's go 14 weeks. Let's make it all the way to the state championship game.
Sure, let's do it.
And thanks for reminding me about that the 2x4 at every branch. I am officially probably about to be fired, so because I forgot about that part. Where do we find pricing for the product? Well, hopefully you were invited by a outside rep from GSG or your inside rep from GSG. We will be able to provide pricing. With every quote that we send out, we'll also send out what I'm calling a bill of materials. On that bill of materials, you will have things such as input, voltage, weight, all your pertinent specifications, as well as what different materials you need, such as frames, controllers, continuation cables, and all that. So just reach out to your GSG rep, and then we'll handle the pricing from there. Do you have product data available for permit applications with the town or city?
So we have two sets of documents that are going to help you as a dealer with permitting. We're going to have both a AutoCAD.
Start.
We're going to have a line drawing, an AutoCAD drawing that you can actually incorporate into your drawings, or you can print off as is. That's going to have all the dimensions and the sizes. We'll also have a product specification that shows you exactly how to wire it up, and it will also have all the specifications regarding electrical, data, and brightness.
I would add that we can always provide security, because you all have banking customers, and I'll go back to my comment about IT guys. We're going to have security documents for the software as well if that's needed.
What is in place for heat control? There's no fans, and the water components are, the components are watertight. So how do we handle the heat?
Same way you would with anything. The same way you would with your phone. We've gotten to a spot now in 2020 where there's components out there that can be rated up to 200 degrees in temperatures. For 5 years with the other product line, we've been fanless. All of our components, including power supplies, PC, cellular router, we test those here in Wichita, and we've had them out in the field. The same components that we're using for STAX are the same components that we use for our other product line, and we just don't need it.
Okay, great. How will the display look during snow? It's hard to tell if the face has louvers.
Yeah, the face does have louvers. And actually, these louvers are a little bit smaller than a normal setup. It doesn't mean that snow's not going to stay on top of them. It just depends on how wet that snow is and how much we're talking about. But there are louvers there, and but they're smaller than a typical EMC, and you shouldn't have any problems with snow. These do put off enough heat that should melt snow. If it's an icy condition, it might stick around for a little bit longer, but I think anyone in those environments is pretty understanding of that and knows that that's kind of the norm in their area.
Yeah, well, that's not a question I've ever had to answer before here in Dallas. So, thank God. That's
because when it snows in Dallas, the whole town goes crazy. It's apocalyptic.
You got that right. You got that right. And we did have a question: double-sided 8x16. Is that doable? Absolutely, that's doable. Both in STAX and the traditional product as well. If we had to replace a 1x2 module in the future, is there a color match feature so it doesn't look brighter than the rest?
Yeah, all of our displays are remotely able to be color calibrated. And so we can, either with the end user or with the assigned service technician remotely, with them having eyes on the display, we can dial in the red, the greens, and the blues to fall in line with what currently is there. So if it's year 3, year 5 after you replace it, we're going to get it within about 95% of the color of everything else. Sometimes we can be dead on, sometimes we can't. It really just depends on the type of content the customer has been using over the years.
All right, that's fantastic. Brett, looks like you got a secret admirer in here. Somebody says you look amazing.
Well, it's a skincare routine, Shane. Thanks for sending that to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, no problem. So we did answer the question about the 1x2s. Another question, are you saying that we supply the tube for installation, or will you be supplying angles? I think that goes back to the one demonstration that you did where you had the tubing with the plate.
Yes. So we provide the mount plate and the bolts for that plate. You would provide whatever you need, whether it's tubing or angles, or you're mounting directly to a substructure of any kind. We provide the mounting plate though, and the bolt pattern.
All right, perfect. What's the warranty on this?
5-year parts warranty, along with the 5-year cellular service and the lifetime software upgrades and lifetime customer support, account management.
Perfect. And I know we'll talk about that part next week in week 2. But yes, I think that's fantastic. Lifetime training for your customers. What are the power requirements for, let's say, for example, a 4x8 double face stack? Are the controllers 120, 277 volt?
All of our components are 120, 240. We have auto switching power supplies. Don't have to make any sort of changes to it. 277 will not work. That was the question about the power. What was the first part of that question?
What's the power requirements for a 4x8 double face?
It's right about, I believe it's right about 22 amps for a 4x8 double face, and that's running at max brightness, max all white. So as we all know, we provide max numbers and suggested service with any sign. Content drives a lot of that, and obviously brightness drives a lot of that. So generally the rule of thumb in the LED world, whether it's STAX or any other product, is the average use is about at 30% of a max boot up or a max brightness on a sign.
I just want to clarify that. So it's a 120 amp circuit can run a double-sided 4x8.
Yes.
I think we've answered
So
this
in
one
that
already.
particular, just one more point there, Shane. On the power connections, we've got a master and slave, and you would use both of those in a double face 4x8. What you're going to do is on the power connection on the end, you'll just marry those together in the same wire nut that's coming from the same 20 amp circuit.
I think we answered this one, max number of STAX modules per controller and size STAX versus custom built EMCs. I think we got that one a couple times. So yeah, I mean, you can go as big as you want to, as long as you're using a continuation cable, correct?
Correct.
Okay. We talked about that, the power booster cables. Ventilation and cooling system, we've covered that as well. How do you get replacement parts?
So on replacement parts, you got 2 things that we can do here. And we're really trying to meet you with where you're at. So depending on your situation, we can overnight components from Wichita at our cost, or you can have a branch deliver a module or a component from their warehouse and at the branch that's closest to you. And you know, the nice thing about what we're dealing with is we've only got 4 or 5 SKUs. We've got the module, we've got the cables, we've got the control box, and we've got the frames. And so all the components that you would need to service can be delivered from Wichita, next day air, or from the local branch on their next delivery.
Great.
Hang on, Shane, real quick. I want to expound on that just a little bit. We've always had the philosophy that we do not want sign companies making 2 trips to diagnose and then another trip to replace a part that we can easily diagnose from a photo or from remotely from monitoring here in Wichita. So if you ever have a product, we're big believers and have been for a decade on the service philosophy that we want your guys to go out, fix the part, and come back in 1 trip. So we don't ever want to require somebody to make an extra trip to a sign just to confirm something that we probably could have figured out remotely anyhow. And so that's always been a philosophy of ours, and that continues and is even easier to execute with the partnership with y'all at GSG.
On that service component, with that, you know, we have a dedicated number for the STAX product line that's going to hit our service team. on that call, you know, our service team is going to be able to remotely diagnose that problem, as Brett said, and also work with your sign installer or perhaps your end user on what they're actually seeing and what they're experiencing. And about 95% of the problems can be resolved remotely, and at least diagnosed remotely.
Yes, the next question is, did I hear correctly that the cellular plan is only for 5 years? That is correct. It is a 5-year plan through Verizon. And if, guys, if you would like to expound on what happens after that 5 years, does the customer pick it on its own, or does he purchase that through you guys, or how does that happen?
There's 3 options to address that. We know that this is the latest thing in the LED world. It's kind of a jockeying of position. Our cellular's this long, our cellular's this long. First of all, if somebody wants to purchase lifetime upfront, that option is available. So we just need to know that. But as a standard offering, 5 years is what we have. After 5 years, that cellular connection can continue at market rate, is what we tell every customer. I wish I could anticipate what the cellular market's going to be in 5 years, but my guess it'll be $15 a month, $15 to $20 a month that they can continue on our plan, and we'll continue to carry it. Otherwise, we can give that customer their SIM card data information, and they can add it to their existing business plan.
Perfect, perfect. I run into projects several times a year where a property is within a certain distance to a residential zoned property. In those cases, the city requires that the sign be programmable to not exceed a certain foot candles above ambient light. Is the brightness of the STAX product programmable?
Yes, both on the hardware side and the software side. But our standard protocol with most of our customers with all product lines is that you utilize the hardware programming that we have installed from the get-go. Every now and then after it's installed, we might be in a situation where that ambient light is near 0. And so our standard settings might still be too bright, but we can remotely go in on the hardware side and knock it down even further. If the customer wants to have that control, they have the ability to modify the brightness inside the software that overlays on top of the hardware. But we usually recommend against that because the customer doesn't quite understand how that works, and then they end up having their sign dim all day.
Is there a controller ID for recognition by the cloud and Next LED?
Yeah, every box has an identification number when it arrives to you as the dealer. All the components inside are serialized, and we have a record of that. And so when we launch your display and we get it connected to our network, that's the last time we have to do that. So it gets connected, it's solid. We have control of that asset. We know where that asset's at, and then we can service it from that point on.
What do you consider lifetime cellular?
Yes. Yeah, we'll consider lifetime cellular.
Oh, sorry.
No, what
would I consider?
Yeah.
Oh, I would consider that as long as that display is active in the field, we'd be paying the cell bill for it.
And the last question I have, he's saying some companies consider lifetime cellular only 10 years, but no, you're saying as long as that unit is active in the field.
If we say lifetime, we mean lifetime, just like when it comes to the software. If we say 60 months, then we mean 60 months.
So forever, as long as that thing's running, we got it.
Yeah, if we say lifetime.
Yep, okay, perfect. The last question that I have, I believe I have, is can we see inside the controller?
Yeah, sure. Got a few components in here. One is our primary PC. This PC has been designed by Next LED. It's been in operation for about 7 years now. Rock solid, industrial grade, doesn't need the ventilation. cellular router, control, circuit board, and then we have wiring for power. As I mentioned earlier, there's no real reason for anyone to open this. If we have to, if you need to check something, you do have the ability. Every control box comes with a control key that's necessary to open it.
I think it's important to add that this control system is an offshoot of something we've been doing here for a long time. We've got thousands of displays around the country. These controllers are tested and true. We did not invent something new to go along with this product. So we are really confident in this part of this product, as well as you should. This is something we've been doing for 10 years here in Wichita.
Perfect. One more question. They keep coming in, guys. I know it's
Hey,
running a little longer, but as long as we can ask questions, I think the more learning we're doing here. Do you have a variation in pixels? Will the same product look clear in a monument sign application as it would 20 foot high on a pole sign?
This product is going to look, and I say this with almost utmost confidence, this product is going to look as good as any product in your local market will. It's obviously a higher definition product. We are not yet racing to the 6mm and 4mm. We're working on it and we're testing it. But when I talk about brightness, and I'm going to dive into this a little bit more, the education's a little bit all over the place in the industry. But when we talk about brightness, every LED sign looks really good the day you install it or the first 3 months you install it. The question is, how's it going to look a few years down the road? So this sign is bright enough to beat the sun. It is going to look terrific 20 feet off the ground. It's going to look, almost TV-like. And then on a monument sign, it's still high enough resolution. I mean, when you can get 64 pixels vertical on a 2-foot sign, that's a game changer in the industry. And, this product looks terrific.
Okay, great. So here's well, we got one more question. Support available 7 days per week.
We have on-call support through the regular business hours, through the regular week. After hours, we do our best to be available with on-call people. And that really stems from the fact that we want to be excellent at customer service, both for the end user and for you as the dealer. And so whereas it's going to probably be hard to get a hold of us at Sunday at 3 a.m., Sunday at 3 p.m., there's a good chance you're going to be able to get a hold of somebody. And that's just because that's our extra commitment to you. Now, it doesn't mean we're necessarily going to be available right then and there, but we're going to be able to get back to you pretty quick. And if it's an emergency situation, you're going to get a lot faster response. So we don't promise after hours. We certainly promise during hours, but we do our best to be on call and to provide after hours support when and whenever it's reasonable.
Will the warranty transfer to a new owner?
Correct. Yes.
It will. Okay, perfect. Do we have any STAX units in the field that we could go view?
Well, we have a few here in Wichita that we've used for testing purposes. And then we also have our first one's going up in Missouri, and I believe we have some getting ready to go up in Dallas or Texas somewhere. Okay, so I think we're probably still new for most of you on the call to be able to go out and see it. That's why we have the demo units. And if you're interested in coming to Wichita to meet with us, we love visitors and we're welcoming of guests.
Great. All right, guys, that looks like that wraps up all the questions that we have. I guess here's the fun part of the show. We get to give something. Away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask one of you guys to give me a number that is between 1 and 68. If you give me that number, I'm gonna see what that is on my registration spreadsheet, and if that person happens to be here, we're gonna give them a $100 gift card. So, one of you guys give me a number.
My sports jersey number was, and my favorite roulette number is 27.
27. So if I call your name, just let me know in the chat window. James Camper. Brett, you give me a number.
I'm going to go with my son's jersey number, 14. Shout out Wellington Crusaders.
14. 14 is going to be John Marion, A1 Signs of Louisiana. Are either one of you guys on here? All right. Give me another number, guys.
67.
67. 67. What do we have here? That's going to be Zeke Bullock. So Rebecca, if you'll write that name down real quick, and we'll get that card over to him. So, all right, one more. Give me one more number.
Number 4.
Number 4. John, and I'm going to butcher this name, Hodling from Sinorama in Woodstock. Well, I bet that's Woodstock, Georgia. John, are you on here? Yep, looks like you are.
Right.
Let's see here. Let's make sure. Yeah, I like these guys. They're all giving us numbers for you guys to call. Yeah, okay, so we got John and Zeke. So you guys, if you don't mind, GSG reps that are on here, if you will reach out to that person, get their address, and we'll mail those. We'll get Rebecca to mail those cards out to them. Guys, that is going to be it for today. Sounds like the puppy has found a water bottle. I apologize for all the background noise, but that's it for today. Thank you guys so much, Brett, Luke, Brady. I think Kel was in the background with the video camera. Thank y'all so much for putting this on. Remember, next week, this is going to be very important for you guys, because this is how we're going to sell it to the end user. This is what's going to make it so nice for the end user to have this unit. So with that being said, Luke, Brett, you guys got anything else you want to say?
Yeah, invite your salespeople next week to jump on. Invite your salespeople. If they leave next week with 2 or 3 things to have in their pocket when they're out on the street, they're gonna make more money.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, guys, thank everybody that attended. I know we went a little bit longer than what I promised you, but I think it was all great and useful information. So, until next week, you guys go out there and sell some EMCs. Have a great day. Thank you, guys.